You know, when it comes to movies, everyone has their own private Waterloo. For me, it was the movie Maximum Overdrive. I remember as a kid, I hated this movie with such intense passion and hatred and it was weird for a kid that young to hate anything that much. So now that I'm an adult, do I still hate that movie that much?
A good question. Let's find out.
Maximum Overdrive is based on the short story Trucks, written by Stephen King for his Night Shift collection. Just for your information, Overdrive isn't the only bad movie that came out of the Night Shift collection. There are a ton. And here are some examples. There are a couple of reasons why this movie came to be. One was the producer Dino De Laurentiis, and the other was Stephen King. Stephen King always hated the adaptations done to his work. He said there were about 4 that were any good. And also, Dino had the rights to a lot of his work, and this was Dino's favorite short story from The Night Shift. So Dino finally gave Stephen King the chance to direct his very own movie. And this movie was the result. Before we begin looking at the movie, let me just say that when Stephen King wrote this movie and directed this movie, he had relapsed into drugs again. It's been noted, he even admitted that on set he was high on coke and alcohol, and allegedly between takes he'd have someone bring him a bottle of Listerine, which he would just down on the spot. So, what is the film about? Well, it's about a group of people who are trapped in a diner and being terrorized by a bunch of trucks. At least that's how it went in short story. It's like that in the movie too, but there are some changes. You know, I could just discuss the movie proper, but instead I decided to just tell you some random thoughts that popped in my mind while I was watching this film, and some burning questions that I had. What's the purpose of the comment that comes and goes at the beginning and the end of the film? So are only trucks scary, or all automobiles, or anything mechanical? I don't understand. Did Stephen King really think that a push lawnmower chasing after a kid on a bike was supposed to be scary? Ooh, scary. Ice cream truck. Yeah, that really amps up the tension. Why aren't more people dying? Uh-oh, here's a black person. Of course, it's the beginning of the movie, so he's gonna die in a couple minutes. Yep, and there we go. Really? A Stephen King cameo? Real Oscar-worthy acting here, folks.
This machine just called me an asshole.
Question. At the beginning of the film, before we get to the obligatory Stephen King cameo, when people are walking down the street, how come no one notices what that big blinking sign says? The scene where the jukebox explodes and the guy sitting at the table just goes like, huh, okay. No, but seriously, that push mower versus going after that kid on a bike, that has to be the worst chase scene in movie history. Question, why are the machines evil? We never really get a good answer to that. Was it the comet? Was there seething unrelenting hatred or something? Question, when the trucks were trying to communicate with the human beings via Morse code, if that kid wasn't there to tell them it was Morse code, what would have happened? Because I'm assuming only that little kid knew Morse code. So would the trucks have just given up and moved away? Another thing I hate is the rationalization on why they have to fill up the trucks, because the trucks are threatening them. It's obvious that the trucks need the gas to move and everything, so if you don't give them gas, eventually they're gonna run out of power and they won't be able to do anything. Also, the truck with the gun, eventually it's gonna run out of bullets and there's not gonna be any kind of machine that's gonna be able to refill them and everything. So,
I got you.
yeah.
Come here. Okay. Okay, now you see that one? All right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now look, here's the way I figure it. The big guys, they're heavyweights, okay? They crash in here, they're gonna break through the floor and end up in the cellar. But that one, that bastard, ain't no reason why he couldn't call in a truck full of napalm and hose this place down.
Just take care of yourself.
Also, where did the commissioner hide that grenade launcher? And also, since it's a machine, a simple machine, shouldn't it have a mind of its own? 1980s Marvel must have really been hurting for some cash, huh? While technically there is a soundtrack, there isn't a score because it just appears Stephen King took like any random AC/DC song and threw it on a scene without really thinking about the context of the scene or the song for that matter. How did the trucks turn on the electricity that was off in the diner? Not enough people are dying. There was a large cast at the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the movie, it's still a large cast. Only the black guys are dead, I believe. Well, and a couple other people. On the radio, they're talking about weird things that's happening to the machines, but if this were truly happening and it was as worldwide as they're trying to make out to seem, shouldn't there be even more panic and destruction? This seems just very localized and pretty cheap. When everybody escapes by boat at the end of the movie, why wasn't the boat evil? It's a machine, and I know it looks like it's a sailboat, but I'm sure there's gotta be some mechanical parts to it and everything. It appears at the end of the movie, once the comet leaves, everything's okay. So comets make things go evil then? One of the worst crimes this movie did was it was also boring. About halfway into the movie, for about 30 minutes, nothing happens. So despite that, do I still hate this movie like I did when I was a kid? Pretty much, but for different reasons. As a kid, I wanted to see some sort of monsters or something like the Transformer, some evil machine or something. And it was there, but for the most part, I remember it being very boring and really only the middle part's boring. The real crime is this film makes no sense whatsoever. And understanding that Stephen King was on drugs at the time and completely baked out of his mind, it makes sense now. And actually, if you were on some sort of hallucinogenic drugs, you probably would understand this film and like it better. And until next time, goodbye.
Hi. My name is Stephen King. I've written several motion pictures, but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive, which is the first one I've directed. A lot of people have directed Stephen King novels and stories, and I finally decided if you want something done right, you ought to do it yourself. It was my first picture as a director, and you know something? I sort of enjoyed it. I just wanted someone to do Stephen King right. So come and spend some time with me and my friends at the Dixie Bowl. I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.